Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the MI podcast. So today we will discuss about marketing IT services. Now, IT services is a huge industry. The IT industry, how it has shaped the world over the last 30 years, um, in terms of creating great websites. We can connect with each other, applications, different kind of softwares that we use, and also it's a huge industry, and it hires quite a bit of people. I mean, I would say within an IT company, 80% would be into development, but then the rest of them would be the normal functions that are in a company. You have your marketing, HR, finance, sales, and all those people. So I would say marketing these companies, since they function at such a huge scale, is also becomes important. It's not just that their product or the service sells itself. There has to be a kind of process in place where you can optimize. Whenever a business obviously is peaking, is reaching a scale, then it has to look at formal marketing. If you're just a startup IT firm, maybe you can just get initial few projects through certain references. Then you can look at getting participating in some basic amount of events, having a good website, doing a bit of email marketing, but doing it formally, like say hiring people, and their responsibility is to get qualified leads for the business that can go on and convert and sell, is what it's about, right? In terms of when you are looking at formally marketing an IT company. So I've also worked for companies where they have a very strong group of developers, and they're looking at marketing themselves, and getting to the, because then ID company, unless it is reaching a proper TG, the people who will really appreciate the work they do and they will pay them well for the time and effort, then that IT firm doesn't really prosper. So when we look at IT services, what are we talking about? So I would say you would have a basic like infrastructure services. Majorly, you're looking at application development. You're looking at maintaining the same. Many are into consulting also. Outsourcing is a huge industry within India. It's been since the last 20 odd years. Then you even have managed services where in terms of they are support specific, such as they are for email storage, network security, and all. Nowadays a lot is coming up into data analytics and business intelligence, and also you have cyber security services. So these are some of the services where we are kind of going to be talking about in terms of how to generally market the same when in this context. And a well marketed ID firm is somewhere it can really scale itself well, and then it can create a product. Like in the last episode when we talked about SaaS product marketing, that is an ideal case. An IT company wants to create its own product, and and then scale it. That is where all these companies get the funding. An IT company basically just providing services is not going to get funding for anything. It is basically unscalable. But then initially they need these market themselves, and get all the revenue from these projects, and then they can go on and make a great project for themselves, product for themselves basically. So I would say this is a kind of an important episode in terms of this, looking at the huge number of IT companies that are out there, and are quite talented, and they're looking at getting great projects. So firstly, as a marketer in an IT company, you have to develop a bit of a technical expertise. So what I mean by this is you need to understand technical concept terminology, what languages are being used, what are you actually marketing, the skill, the development skill of the company. So and also you should be able to explain it to a non-technical audience, because In many cases, like if a company is wanted to develop, say, their own SaaS product or something, it's most probably they won't be a technical person, right? They could be somebody who has a great idea but has the resources to back up in terms of create that product. So should be able to explain to you to understand technically yourself also, and explain it through your communication in simple words. Then the IT industry is rapidly changing. So in terms of as a marketer, you have to understand where the industry is heading, where is the attention of the people in the industry heading. That will help you to create content or create marketing messages where it appears. I've seen when you're working in IT company, you have to talk a lot of high tech stuff, right? Like within your blogs or your social media posts, that it convinces people that here is a company who is totally updated with whatever technologies, languages they are using, and they can deliver on basically a project. So constantly like read up, because it's as I said, the things keep changing every day in with respect to the IT companies. Then you should have this emphasis, right? Because you are working mainly. What happens when you're in an ID company, you would have, as a marketer, working for somebody who is from the tech space, right? Like, I mean, who's developed those. The most like 90% of the time, they are developers themselves. IT engineers, and also basically you should be able to speak the language, right? Not only for what you are doing in terms of your finding out the effectiveness of your campaigns with data, and then taking making data related decisions. But in the case, I would say you have to, in terms of the reporting also, it helps to this to the people who are in the tech space. So in terms of that, you have to be at the top of your game with respect to data and analytics. Now, what does the use of technology? It is problem solving. When you see the biggest of companies and they've come up with a great product in the market, an IT product, it is they are addressing a major, problem, like a business problem, you would say, or even a personal, a person has a problem. Like for example, if you take an Uber, and it is about getting a cab easily. That was a simple thing. How it started identifying a problem. That is, they say how to start an IT product is do an analysis, like any problem say you have faced, within the open market, and then how this can be fixed with technology. That gives the birth to an idea that can be a great IT product. So there are a number of examples in this how this particular thing happens. So uh, what I've experienced with respect to businesses and all, you have to look at addressing those problems, how your IT solutions have address that particular problem. Like that has to be there in your communication. Like what is the problem, pain point, one problem that you're solving for these people that you are pitching to. So you should have these things in focus, because that is a major part, that problem solving ability with technology, how you can communicate that. Now, generally in IT, there are very long sales cycles, right? Like I think the longest, like I've worked for companies like where you have an ERP solution, so it could even take up to a year to all that from the start to keep convincing, because it is something like an investment person is making, could be like 25-30 lakhs a year he could be making if he's having a new ERP. So with this huge amount of money at stake and the long sales cycle, it is you have to focus more on nurturing those particular leads. So that also comes in a part of marketing, like how you are giving your say content, your top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. So it's a long process with long sales cycle. We have to identify that as a marketer, and in in the sales cycle, when you're different funnel in terms of your marketing communication, everything has to be kind of organized really well in like say the CRM that you use. You have to know which particular prospect is in what stage, and then that kind of communication is going to that. So to identify that, and then your strategy has to be there accordingly. And lastly, in terms of your content creation, there's a lot of technical content, right? Like within an IT company, which includes white papers, majorly case studies are there, and also your products, like in terms of your web explainer videos about them, some tutorials about them, a lot of collaterals related to them in terms of explaining even through written material in blogs or different kind of say PDFs you are giving about how your product has solved certain problems, use cases that are there. So a lot of technical content creation, a lot of time of yours should go in that how we create better technical content. At the end of the day, all this creates that credibility for your product. How good is your product compared to the competition? How with your unique technological prowess in your company you can help us reach the next level in terms of whatever for function you are providing that particular software. So I would say awesome. This has been a good episode in terms of IT services, understanding the different aspects as a marketer you have to pay attention to in marketing IT services. So definitely look into this, and I think it's a great industry to join as a marketer. You get a lot of experience, major, like I would say, a lot of intelligence of yours and skill is also required in converting these particular people in terms of like in an ID industry, like I told you, is a long sales cycles, a lot of content and all. So there's a lot of things to learn in this, and definitely, I think if you put your best foot forward, things will really go well with respect to this. So thanks a lot. Thanks for your time. So until the next episode, I'll see you. Take care.